Weird.
We can't all make declarations of hatred at the same time. Hi, everybody.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
你好中过比较细呢，我爱更尊重中。石油上。
Alton, help me up onto his casket so I can dance on it.
I don't care.
But how did you ever find us?
Oh, easy. We just read the screenplay you left us. Glove gold! Glove gold! Glove gold!
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
I'll help you.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino.
All right, it is Thursday night in Toonie Town, folks, and that can only mean one thing. It is time for Toonie Talk TV. Folks, happy Halloween, first of all. My name is Marvin, and I am the Movie Monster, and I am here tonight with another all-star panel, all decked out for Halloween here tonight. Some will be joining us a little bit later. You know, those with small kids are out there doing their trick-or-treating and, you know, living life up to the fullest and being parents and making memories that will last a lifetime. But, guys, this is also the closest thing to a bachelor party that I am going to have. As many of you know, I'm getting married over the weekend. And, you know, I don't really I'm not like a party animal kind of person. I don't know if you guys ever figured that out about me, but I'm really not. And, yeah, I didn't do any kind of bachelor party. I just kind of went with one of my friends to Halloween Horror Nights one night and was like, yeah, this is kind of it. But no, I consider this my bachelor party. And of course, I need my good friends here with you. And you guys in the chat are my good friends. But someone who's been one of my good friends for a very long time. The one, the only, the devilishly talented Trish.
Hi, everybody. Happy Halloween bachelor party.
Thank you. Is that an AC? Are those AC/DC?
It is. I know the glare from the ring light, but yes, I got these at the AC/DC concert I went to where Axl Rose was doing vocals.
Oh.
And it was my goal. I was like, I'm getting a pair of those horns. And I was just over the moon. It's the best $10 I spent.
Do you plan on ignoring any and all trick-or-treaters that come to your house tonight to stay on?
The lights off. Get out of here.
Yeah. Did you do the thing where you put the bowl out there and it says take one, but the bowl is empty, so they think that you left it all and they took it?
I don't generally tend to get a lot of people actually where I am, so you know, a lot of times I wind up eating most of the candy.
No, we didn't even buy candy this year. We've never had a trick-or-treater, not one. But somebody who, by the way, if he comes to your house and he wants candy, just give it to him, folks. He's Nolan Thunder.
Nolan!
Hello, everyone. My name is Marvin, and I am the Movie Monster.
Oh, my God. That's why you weren't on camera before.
I knew why he told me.
I hate Zack Snyder. He's such a hack.
Accurate portrayal.
Oh, Nolan, you made my whole night. I love it. I love it so much.
Best bachelor party ever, man.
Yeah. And oh my goodness, man. Oh, that is, I'm like crying. I'm laughing so hard. Also joining us tonight, guys, somebody who needs no introduction, but usually shows up later in the show. Thrilled to have him here right at the start today. Guys, he is an adventurer. He is an academic, but he is Lorne Connor.
Lorne!
I love your costume.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy
Lorne,
Halloween.
Lorne, I love the costume. You said you put this together years ago? Like this is an old one that you made?
Yeah, I put this together for the release of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I was really excited about that movie coming out. I love the indie movies like you wouldn't believe.
Mhm.
And I realized all the stuff was out there, and I decided, okay, I'm just going to go for it. I've got the means and the opportunity, so I ordered everything that's in the costume. And the one caveat that I gave myself was that if I'm going to do this, I'm going to learn how to crack the whip. And so I ordered the whip, and I spent a lot of time practicing for it. And I stood outside for hours waiting for the movie to start, and it was a great time.
Did you like young Indiana Jones in the beginning of The Last Crusade? Try to crack the whip and end up busting your face open?
Yep, absolutely. And honestly, if you've never cracked a whip, that's not too far from accurate, because everybody has an idea of how you're actually supposed to throw it, and they think you muscle it with your arm, and you think you just a lot of people want to throw it back like this. That ain't how you do it. If you're going to hit yourself with this thing when you first start trying to do it, it hurts, and you learn real quick that's not how you do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how do you actually do it? Is it all in like the wrist?
Sort of. It's you kind of gotta throw it to the side and kind of back. It's kind of difficult for me to show you here, but there is a trick to it, and it's not muscle. It's not muscle at all. The whip is designed so that the energy transfers down the whip as it rolls out. That's part of why it tapers, is that as it goes down the whip, it actually picks up energy and speed as it goes. So it's just sort of a slow roll.
That is fascinating.
Also, a lot of people think you hold the whip by the handle. You really don't. You hold the ball in your hand like this, and it works kind of like a swivel. So it takes a bit of practice. It's been a long time since I've done it now, so I'm probably way out of practice. But you learn a lot real quick when you're hitting yourself with the thing.
I'm sure you do. Oh my goodness, that is incredible. Also, folks joining us this week from the world of That Park Place, we assume that he's in costume as well. He's the one and only Martin Stone.
Hey, I'm a master of fright and a demon of night.
I thought you were going to be late. This is a
I was going to be, but my youngest kind of punked out on the trick or treating. She's only 5, so I got to give her a little leeway there.
Oh, but was trick or treating done? Like, did you guys get a good enough haul where mom and dad get to have a lot of the candy themselves?
Dad is foregoing the dad tax this year.
Oh, okay. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
that's
either kind of you or very health conscious of you.
Health conscious.
There you
I'm
go.
not a kind person. You know this.
I appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Oh man, I'm trying to think. Well, what was my favorite Halloween costume I ever had as a kid? Like, do you remember what your first Halloween costume was? Like when you were like a little kid?
I
think mine was Superman.
Really?
I was Supergirl one year.
Awesome.
I was Thomas the
We're the
Tank
same age.
Engine.
It could have been the same year.
It could have been. I was about maybe like 3 or 4. Something like that.
No, I was a little older than that.
Okay, I was wee. Very wee.
Lauren, do you remember your first Halloween costume?
Not for sure. I think it might have been a pirate. I do remember one year having. You remember the really cheap plastic masks and the kind of like vinyl things?
Yeah.
I had a Darth Vader costume like that when I was pretty young, and I remember that. Mostly what I remember about it is the inside of the mask smelled, Those things were terrible. But,
Of course.
yeah, but that's the first one that I remember.
I remember I think my first ever Halloween, I was a koala bear, but I slammed my, apparently I guess the oven was partially open and I like put my hand in there and my fingers got slammed in the oven and I had to go get stitches my first Halloween. But I remember my mother made a Donald Duck costume one year, actually made it. She's never done anything that crafty again since. But she actually made and then my cousin and I used to do themed costumes. Like I'd be a wizard and she'd be a witch. I was the big bad wolf. She was Little Red Riding Hood. But my favorite one I ever did was in elementary school. I was Doc Brown. And I had like the
great Scott.
Yeah, I had like the radiation suit and the crazy white hair, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I remember the white hair was like a comb that had like a white, like it almost looked like a bar of soap in the middle of it, and that was like the white coloring. And my mother had to like brush the color into my hair,
like a powdery kind of.
No, it was like it almost like. Yeah, I don't know if it was chalk. I don't know what it was. I don't remember. But, it washed right out. So, whatever. All right, guys, we have a lot to get to tonight. Actually, we are going to be, so this has been the busiest week of my life with the wedding this weekend. And then just, kind of like trying to still work and get ready for a bunch of new things that are going to be happening once I'm back, which I will be able to discuss more freely once I'm back. But there will be some not channel announcements, but like life announcements. And no, it's not a baby.
Always have to say that right away.
Don't get excited. At least not that I know of. It's not a shotgun wedding or anything like that. But yeah, I am getting all my ducks in a row, and so like I've been just trying like mad to knock out all the content for next week. So you guys who are members and who are new members and who are being gifted memberships today, you're gonna have a big day tomorrow because you guys always get all of the content on the channel early. Sometimes that's a couple hours early, sometimes it's a whole day early. Well, you're getting you're getting tonight's content tonight, or tomorrow morning's content tonight, and you're getting all of next week's content probably in the morning. So you'll have I think it's another 3 videos for next week because I'm gonna be away. I'll be on a cruise. So that's gonna be I can't wait to relax. Trish, I'm gonna relax. It's actually gonna happen. It might actually happen.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I know I can't actually like do YouTube stuff like on the ship because the internet's so bad. So like I'll actually be forced to relax. But a lot of you guys are being very, very generous already here tonight. Let's see. Plenty in Pixel Art gifted 5 Tooneytown TV memberships. Thank you very much. I believe he said he couldn't make it here tonight, but he stopped in and he gifted 5 memberships, which is excellent. I love that so much. Thank you so much. You're giving the gift of membership to so many people here tonight. You and Kumia also gifted 5 Tooneytown TV memberships, and that's amazingly generous. Thank you very much, you and Kumia. And also gifted another 1. So that is 6 memberships for you and Kumia here tonight. I also gifted 5 memberships. So congrats to everyone who got those. Remember, if you gifted a membership, you have to auto renew it at the end of the month. Otherwise, it just kind of expires and, you're starting over from scratch. And Chris Andrews also became a YouTube member. So we appreciate that. And we welcome you into the fold there, Chris. So welcome new members. Welcome people in the chat. And if you guys want your questions, comments, everything read aloud in the air, let me know. And I will put it up, super chat in. I will put it up on the screen and we will make you a part of the conversation as we go forward. People are asking in the chat about Apollo. As far as I know, he is on the way. I've actually not heard from him much today. But I assume that, he's with his kids and he'll be here as soon as he can.
I saw some of their costumes, so.
Oh, are they wonderful?
No one dressed up like a bear, did they?
No, that'd be suicide.
Well, I don't know what wee little Dukester is. Something furryish and blue and very cute. And then one of his daughters is, I was very proud, Ghostface. So.
Oh.
Nice.
The picture was great because he took it outside the car and she's just sitting in there, presumably like, I don't know, on a device. And it's just, you see Ghostface just like sitting in the car, just like doing something else. Like, why is that Ghostface in your car? So,
did you ever see his oldest daughter's first Halloween? Or it might not have even been her first one.
I don't think so.
You never saw the Ewok costume?
I really don't think either. I did. I'm completely forgetting, but I feel like I remember that.
Kevin put his daughter in an Ewok costume in one of her first Halloweens, and she was the single most miserable Ewok
she's probably cute too.
Ever seen. It was really cute, but she was just he showed me this picture and she's in the Ewok costume and she's just got the biggest pout on her face, and they eventually had to relent and like make her like Doc McStuffins. But I asked him, I was like, please tell me that like as she stood there in this Ewok costume like crying, you were like singing the Yub Nub song at her and instructing her to dance.
I like to think so.
James T coming in and gifting 10 Tooneytown TV memberships. Man, we are turning that chat green tonight. Thank you guys so much for your generosity.
Make it
James T,
rain.
thank you very, very much. Let's see, man. All right. So moving along. So as you guys can tell by the thumbnail that we're working with here tonight, Cynthia Erivo is back in the news. It seems I can't escape Cynthia Erivo. She is, for those of you that don't know, and man, I honestly, like envy those of you that don't know. She is the woman who is playing the role of Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West in Wicked. And she's out of her damn mind. So somebody, we talked about it a couple weeks ago, somebody had altered the poster to make it look more like the Broadway poster. They added some shadow over her eyes, turned her lips from green to red, and she went absolutely insane. She went completely out of her mind, screaming at these fans and saying it was the most offensive thing she'd ever seen, saying that she was it was erasing her in some way, shape, or form. I mean, it was absolutely terrible. And then she also said that she was a different and almost better kind of Elphaba than Idina Menzel or anyone that's ever come before her, because she was black and queer, essentially. So, her skin color and who she decides to sleep with makes her better than, one of the greatest Broadway performers of all time. She got a very healthy opinion of herself. However, it seems that somebody at Universal was like, hey, you need to make this right, because people are talking about it, not in a good way, and our movie is becoming about you freaking out about a poster. So she tried to apologize, and it didn't go very well, guys. So here we have this article from IndieWire. Cynthia Erivo amends comments about fan-edited Wicked poster. I just wanted to protect the character. Good Lord. Okay, we're going to get into every problem with that statement very soon. But Cynthia Erivo is defying gravity when it comes to keeping the debate over the Wicked fan-edited posters afloat. The actress told Entertainment Tonight that she, quote, probably should have called my friends instead of taking to social media to slam the unauthorized image. The fan-edited poster hid Elphaba's eyes under her witch hat in a nod to the famous ad from the original Broadway production. The faux poster was an alteration of the official Universal Pictures marketing materials, in which Elphaba's full face is on display as Glinda whispers in her ear. Quote, I probably should have called my friends, but it's fine, Eriva said of airing her frustrations. I'm really protective of the role. I'm passionate about it, and I know the fans are passionate about it, and I think for me, it was just like a human moment of wanting to protect little Elphaba, and it was like a human moment. Guys, we're going to go through what she said. We're going to review that again. I don't think in any way, shape, or form at any point in her meltdown she ever mentioned little Elphaba.
It has nothing to do with Elphaba. She kept talking about herself.
Nothing to do with Elphaba.
Nothing. In fact, if it did, she would like the homage to the Broadway poster.
Of course, that's what made Elphaba the cat. That is what defined Elphaba the character.
This is such a dumb thing that should not be. This should not be a thing that's going on. It's that ridiculous.
Earlier this month, Erivo said in a that the fan-made image was deeply hurtful to her and also the wildest, most offensive thing ever. I will remind you that we can see the planes hitting the towers in September of 2001 on the internet. There have been more offensive things that we have seen than somebody putting shadow on this woman's eyes. There are executions that you could see on the internet, which is just absolutely horrible. John F. Kennedy's death was televised, and this was the wildest, most offensive thing ever. So she says the original poster is an illustration. I'll do my brain. The original poster is an illustration. I am a real life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer. Because without words, we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes is to erase me, and that is just deeply hurtful. She continued, this is the wildest, most offensive thing I've ever seen, equal to the awful AI of us fighting, equal to people posing the question, is your female member green? None of this is funny. None of it is cute. It degrades me. It degrades us. I think I finally figured out, Trish, who she means when she says us. I think she thinks she is speaking for all Black queer women on the planet.
In which case, I would argue she keeps bringing that up, but this is the worst thing she's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying one thing about yourself over here, and then another thing over here, and it's like, if you're telling me about your struggles as a Black queer woman, how is this poster the worst thing you've ever experienced?
Exactly. Clearly, you've not experienced much hate and racism in your life.
It's I'm not the one making that, Yeah, and
if that's the case, I'm happy for her.
She talks like, oh, being Black and being queer. So the implication at the very least is she's gone through stuff because of it. But I'm not the one with that disparity. That's her putting that out there.
But at the end of the day, guys, she has a history of apparently melting down at people. There's I've seen reports about her going off on stagehands on Broadway shows. She apparently melted down at a fan of hers who fan cast her in like their dream cast for a Hercules live action as one of the muses.
Does she not understand what a compliment is?
No, she doesn't.
Because these things are compliments, and she's getting so offended by them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I wanted to point something out now, guys. She says all of this was about Elphaba. All of this was about protecting the character. I would like to examine these two statements: the freak out and the quote unquote apology. That is not an apology. It's. If you think it's an apology, I need to point out, never were the words "I'm sorry" or "I was wrong" or any admission of guilt or fault offered to anybody. So it's not an apology. So she said, I probably should have called my friends, but it's fine. I'm really protective of the role. I'm passionate about it. And I know the fans are passionate about it. And I think for me, it was just like a human moment of wanting to protect little Elphaba. And it was like a human moment. So then let's examine the original statement. The original poster is an illustration. I am a real life human being who chose to look right down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer, because without words, we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face, not Elphaba's face, is to hide my eyes, not Elphaba's eyes, is to erase me, not to erase Elphaba. And that is just deeply hurtful. This is the wildest, most offensive thing I have seen, equal to the awful AI of us fighting. And the question, none of this is funny, none of it is cute. It degrades me, not that it degrades Elphaba, and it degrades us, meaning Black queer women, and again, not Elphaba, because I will remind you, Elphaba is a straight green woman. So
I'd argue that her use of I and me in the apology that you read at the start makes more sense, because now we are talking about her. Now she does need to talk about herself, but it's the original statement that doesn't mention Elphaba. She actually mentions Elphaba in the apology more than she mentions her in the initial statement.
She never mentioned Elphaba in the initial statement. It was not a defense of Elphaba. She was not defending the character that she loves against a bunch of people. The person that made it was doing an homage to Elphaba because they love the Broadway show. And right now, guys, until that movie hits theaters, the only Elphaba that exists is the one on the Broadway stage. She is giving Rachel Zegler a real run for her money in terms of just absolute mind-blowing, just crazed reactions to things and attention seeking. But here's the thing. She's 37 years old. Rachel Zegler is 23.
Wow.
She's like in a Sulu boat.
Yeah, you can assume that Rachel Zegler might one day be like we can look back at things we did when we were 23 and be like, man, that was cringy. This woman is 37 years old. By 37, you are pretty much the person that you're going to be. And I think I understand where it comes from. She came up in Broadway in live theater, and in live theater, these diva antics are not as exposed to a wide audience the way it is in Hollywood. There's not as many big interviews. There's not as many, there's not as much of a spotlight being shown on you. And I think what's happening is she never had the public smackdown that Rachel Zegler has experienced to kind of be like, whoa, maybe I shouldn't say things like this. She has just been allowed to be a diva and to do whatever she wants for her entire career. And we are seeing a poisonous, spoiled, petulant brat. Martin Stone, your thoughts?
I think that some people believe they're entitled to be thought of exactly the way they believe they're presenting themselves to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Other people's opinions on them, if they run afoul of that, are illegitimate or mean or attacks, that sort of thing. So when she says, this is how I want to present myself, how dare you do anything else? Well, I got a right to think of you how I want to think of you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the other thing is you're in the public eye. You're a celebrity. Like at this point, like this is what you signed up for.
And I got to wonder, that first reaction, she talks about how she chose to look right down the barrel of the camera. Was that the only picture you took that day? Because I'm betting there were hundreds that were taken that day.
Absolutely. Every single one is just the exact same thing. But you know what? The thing is, in the original poster, she's smirking in the original poster. Like Elphaba is smirking, not Cynthia Erivo. Cynthia Erivo just gives a stone-faced, she looks
startled.
And a completely emotionless look. And what you see in the poster also is just really not Elphaba. In the beginning of that show, Elphaba is this quiet little bookworm. Her sister is given all the attention, and she is basically even only at college to be her sister's caretaker because her sister Nessa Rose is in a wheelchair. And so she's supposed to be very plain Jane, very bookish. But now they have her in micro braids. They have her with these long, intricate nails. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine when you're the Wicked Witch of the West. But in the beginning of this show, like, what are we trying to portray here? And also, how is a 37-year-old woman who looks like a 37-year-old woman playing a college student meant to be 18, 19 years old?
I don't know. I saw a bunch of people on the CW with giant, broad linebacker shoulders playing high school kids.
That's also true, yeah.
Those of us who remember Beverly Hills 90210, where Andrea Zuckerman was played by a 26-year-old and she was supposed to be like 15.
I remember when this was all orange grove as far as the eye can see. Lord Connor, you've been quiet during this discussion. What are your opinions on such spoiled, petulant meltdowns made in public? And your opinion on, do you think she was trying to apologize here or she was trying to distance herself? What do you think is going on there?
No, I think they're doing this standard PR thing, but the dumbest part about this argument is that, again, you're trying to protect the character of Elphaba. Well, the poster predates your portrayal. That means that is the definitive Elphaba. That predates you, therefore you're supposed to be imitating that. If you're not doing that, you're the one damaging the image of the character. That's the nonsense of this argument. Now, I don't have a horse in this race because I've never seen Wicked. I've never read the book. I don't know anything about it, so I don't care. But the attitude and the response, the apology, it's typical of what we're seeing out of celebrities in the elite these days. They never truly apologize. They never feel like they have to. They're only pressured into doing it because it starts to impact what kind of money they can draw.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, guys. Well, we want to know what our friends here want to see as well. So sound off in the chat, send in a super chat. And we want to hear what you guys have to say about Cynthia Erivo and everything that she is up to in Hollywood. All right. Moving along. We got some super chats to get to. A couple have come in after. Again, I just wanted to point out James T's very generous 10 Tooneytown TV memberships. John JD 999 for $1.99 says buy a beer on me /kick back and watch Mid-South 82. Man, I was watching I started watching Mid-South when I went back on Peacock. I picked 83 to start off. I didn't even go as far back as 82. Now 83 predates my existence. So I'm watching stuff that happened before I was born, which is actually kind of cool. I love going back and watching old territory wrestling. Trish, have you ever tried to do that? Like the old, Mid-South?
I liked World Class Championship Wrestling. That was my jam.
it's cool because like we see like Hacksaw Dugan and like the Junkyard Dog and like all these guys and like they're having like matches we've never seen in storylines we've never seen. So it's like it's new to you. Social Stand for $5. Lefty liberal here. I don't agree with everything you say, but I think that's what's wrong. What happened to being able to listen to both sides? Thank you, SoCal Stan. SoCal, sorry, I said social, but you are being social by commenting. But I applaud you, sir, because you understand the way it works. And by the way, no cares about what side of the aisle you're on. Nobody knows what side of the aisle I am. I exist in Pro says a thing that I really like. He talks about the sensible center and the mainstream middle. And that is what I think is the sweet spot for logic, for kindness. Like that I think that is where the truth kind of lives, because once you get to either side of extremism, you stop listening to the other side and you don't realize that there usually is a middle ground for the two sides to meet on. So SoCal Stan, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your super chat and thank you for your outlook on this, sir.
We are
Andre
on the
Adams
same side, Stan, because we're all on the fan side of things.
Right.
Really, with stuff like this, it's, yeah, especially in today's climate, but really, when it comes down to it, we're all on the same side as fans of something.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Nothing I ever say should ever be construed as a political statement. I just wanted to make that clear. I don't engage in politics. Politics don't factor into my decisions. My decisions on my preferences on what I like to see in a movie or in a television show have nothing to do with how I think countries should be governed. So I just want to make that known. Andre Adams checking in for 10 big ones, says Cynthia Erivo looks like the transitional phase between chestburster and full xenomorph.
Ooh.
I've had smoke for her since that god-awful Harriet Tubman biopic. Andre Adams, you are he's the best. He's like he does this in like the other night on Toonie Talk Wrestling, he was like Meltzer looked like he cry in the shower. Like he has the best burns. Like he's the roast master of
He's kind of filling in for Apollo a little bit with that kind of description.
Oh, Apollo
that's not the first time Andre has said something Apollo-esque.
Maybe we should have some sympathy for Erivo, having been in the Harriet Tubman movie, about a gun-toting Christian lady. Not really her thing.
Yeah, no, not at all. We had a we were what was I just saying? She was nominated for an Oscar for that movie, by the way. So
yeah,
it's a movie.
This is
about
the first
Harriet.
I've ever heard of her, and then I found out she was nominated for an Oscar. I was like, oh, that's how little I care about the Oscar.
She didn't win. Yeah, she didn't win, but
no, Renee Zellweger won for Judy.
Yeah, anybody who played Harriet Tubman was going to get an Oscar nomination if they were even half good. Those historical biopics, those are the ones that like the Academy
Oscar
eats
bait.
up. Yeah, completely. Samuel Maine gifted 1 Tooneytown TV membership. Thank you very much, Samuel Maine. John JID 999 said, thoughts on Get Out? It's my favorite horror movie. I've never seen Get Out. Trish, are you familiar?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. It's interesting. It's pretty good. It's interesting social commentary, because it's about race stuff, but it's in a way that I don't think feels particularly divisive. It's Jordan Peele. Was that his name? I don't know. Out of the 3, I haven't seen Nope, but out of the 3 premises of the movies, I find Get Out to be the most engaging. Not to say that the other ones are particularly bad, but just me personally, and I think that there were some performances in Get Out that were enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I like it, John JID.
I've never seen it. Guys, let's go around real quick since it is Halloween. Trish, favorite horror movie? I'm assuming it's Scream, but
Scream is not only my favorite horror movie, it's my favorite movie. So this is like
the first one, or like is it like all the Screams?
The last 2, it's a little different. I'm a big Sidney Prescott girl. That's like my favorite final girl ever. And she's not in 6 at all. She's not too much of a factor in 5, but I don't think there's a bad Scream movie. It's just the first one is perfection. And it's hard because now so many movies do what Scream did. But when Scream did it, no one was doing it. So sometimes when people look back on it now, they're like, oh, well, it's like, yeah, but in 1996, that's not how things were going.
Let me tell you something about where I was in 1996. I was terrified of everything. So I did not see horror movies in 1996. The first horror movie that I ever saw in theaters was Halloween Resurrection with Bob.
God, of all
No. Oh.
Yes.
God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was my first Halloween movie and my first horror movie in a theater.
It's the Busta Rhymes one, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm
Trick or
making sure
treat,
that-
mother. Yeah, that one.
Jesus, Tyra Banks. That movie's so insane.
It's
and Busta
It
Rhymes
was
lives.
irrelevant.
Spoiler.
Yeah,
It didn't
you know
need
what?
to be made. We just had H2O and it was fine. Everything was fine.
Right, H2O is good. Also written by Kevin Williamson. But
Nolan Thunder, what is your favorite horror movie?
Oh my gosh. I am awful to ask about this because I love so many like B-movie, horror movie type aesthetics, but
fine.
I have trouble finding like something I vibe with because I am such a wuss when it comes to horror movies. And I got to see one earlier this year, Strangers Chapter 1, because my friends drugged me to see it, and it was awful. It was one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life.
talked about that franchise today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Please
Funny.
tell me the original was better than that prequel. 'Cause,
I haven't
oh my
seen them. It's not really my
Don't.
bag, that stuff.
Don't. It's terrible. Like, I am such a cop-out. I want to say, like, a Godzilla movie or a monster movie because, like, that's my cup of tea, but I don't think that really counts. So if I would say...
I think the original Godzilla counts as a horror film.
If that is the case, then that would be my favorite horror movie of all time.
I would follow you. I would follow you on that logic.
Thank you. No, I think the idea of turning, a weapon of devastation that impacted the Japanese culture so much into a big metaphor for the failures of society and how we can learn in the gravity and the grip. I've seen both the American version and the Japanese version. It is the classic. The way they shot the film holds up to this day. And a little fun fact for you guys. Godzilla, of course, is based off a bomb. If you ever go and look up the original concept art of him, he actually looks like a mushroom cloud, and he's somehow even more terrifying than he was in the original movie. Some animators have actually taken upon themselves to make like CGI renders of him just kind of moseying along, and it is pure nightmare fuel. If you want some fun this Halloween, look that up.
That's awesome. Martin Stone, what is your favorite horror movie then?
I never really thought about that like within the genre, but probably one of two. Either Night of the Hunter, which is a classic black and white. This insane preacher comes to town and takes over a woman's life. It's a great one. Or The Thing.
Okay.
I think it's a classic.
The Thing is a classic.
Yeah.
Which Thing? You mean the 80s, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
1982. What up?
Agreed. Top tier. That is one of the best movies ever made, period, as well. It is exceptionally well made.
As I think I've told you guys before, I will watch literally anything with Kurt Russell in it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Please
fair.
include
I get
Sky
that.
High in that.
Absolutely. He's great in
Sky High is fantastic. That's my elevator pitch to people about My Hero Academia, which has gotten at least a dozen people that I know to watch that show, is it's Sky High as an anime.
Dude, we were on the same wavelength because the moment I first started watching, I'm like, it's Sky High, but more of it. And I've wanted this for like the past
But
20
more of
years
it,
my
and with
life.
like cooler powers too. Like some of the powers in My Hero Academia are just incredible. And All Might, I keep telling Kevin he has to watch My Hero Academia because he will fall in love with All Might. I'm like, he's a Superman level character who screams out the name of American cities as he punches people in the face. I was like, this is like your character. Let's see. Lauren, what is your favorite horror movie, my friend?
I'm going to make a confession here and say I'm not a horror fan. So
okay, nothing wrong with
it's
that.
kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me to say. I would say I do like Sleepy Hollow. I do like the version that came out. Let me think. Why is his name escaping me? Director. He worked on Star Wars. He worked on Indiana Jones. He did. The Rocketeer, I cannot think of his name right now, but he did a version of The Wolfman in 2010, I think, that was really good, that starred Benicio del Toro.
I was just going to say Benicio del Toro was in that.
Joe Johnson?
That's the guy. Thank you. I couldn't think of his name. He's a great director, and anytime that he gets to do a movie, I'm always happy to watch it. So I'd probably put those two down as my favorites. Also, guilty pleasure, Van Helsing.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah.
That
was
movie,
the first movie.
that movie is so misunderstood and and so underrated. I mean, that movie's great.
That was the first movie I saw where like the end credits were really intricate. I remember watching it thinking they should have spent some of this money on the movie.
Yeah. I love that movie so much. I love everything about it. It's such a good movie, and I gotta watch it again sometime soon. For me, guys, I would say my favorite horror movie, the one that got me into horror movies, was probably, it's gonna sound really dumb. I was enamored by the concept of Freddy versus Jason.
No, I completely
Nice.
And it's a decent, slasher flick up to the point where the two of them meet. And then after that, it's just two immortal beings whooping the crap out of each other. And I loved every second of it. I thought it was fantastic. I
Freddy
wish
vs. Jason's pretty good.
I
don't think that that's
truly,
particularly bad.
I truly wish, Trish, that they had actually made the sequel that was supposed to get made. Because you know what it was supposed to be?
Is that the one with Ash?
It was supposed to be Freddy versus Jason versus Ash from
I
Evil
love
Dead.
Ash Williams. I love
Yes.
The Evil Dead. I love Bruce Campbell. I would have been all about that movie.
So
It's a
they
shame
released
didn't
it.
have him.
No, they released the script as a comic book.
I think I did hear that.
And I read every issue, and I was like, this would have been an incredible film. Incredible. And also the rumor is originally that, but they tried to make this happen, but they couldn't actually get the rights to it. There was supposed to be a post-credit scene where Jason and Freddy were going to be still fighting in hell, and then the chains were going to come and wrap them all up, and Pinhead was going to rise up.
I was going to say Hellraiser.
Yeah, and Pinhead was going to come up and go, "Gentlemen, is there a problem here?"
I think I'm the horror one right now on this
Yeah.
panel. I'm the one who's like,
never
yeah.
say never though, because with how low budget horror movies are to make and what the technology fans have access to, I could totally see a fan film getting made off of that script, and it could actually
you never
be
know. If it's
pretty
not, but
confident.
I have no desire to see anybody but Bruce Campbell play
But
Ash.
I know what you're saying though, because there's a whole thing of Friday the 13th movies, Never Hike Alone.
Yeah.
That it's just like fan made and people love them. So
Mm-hmm.
there is like a little kind of community for that kind of thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Andre Adams for $1.99, power to the 199, says she always looks startled. She has no eyebrows. Talking about Cynthia Erivo.
Like Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, kind of.
She has no eyebrows.
Let's see. Ryan Matheson for $2 says the human moment I saw was a narcissistic hissy fit. Me too. Rabbit Wolverine LC Killer 17 for $5 says my costume is just an orange t-shirt saying this is my Halloween
I like
costume.
it.
A classic. A classic.
I like it.
Oh, my good friend Calais Works for $5.99 checking in saying this is Halloween. She is Spooky Toontown Gang. She is going to be coming on the panel sometime after I get back from vacation.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's exciting.
she's brilliant. I met her at
I don't know
MegaCon.
you, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I met her at MegaCon, and she is brilliant. She is a very talented creator, and a veteran of the U.S. Navy. So I'm very very excited to have her on. Aubrey Crown checking in, gifting 5 Toontown TV memberships. Thank you so much, Aubrey. Really really appreciate it. And you and Kumia back with another 1 Toontown TV membership, which brings his total for the night up to 7.
Oh, lucky 7.
Yeah. And John JID 999 for $1.99, power to the 199, says I'll never forgive Peele for
forgot about
remaking the
that.
Twilight Zone. I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, well,
It wasn't good.
probably for the best,
Is this-
honestly.
Yeah, I assume as much.
Was this like the 90s film with like Spielberg involved, or is this something else?
Well, that was in the 80s, and
Oh,
there
my
was
bad.
death involved in that one.
Yes.
No, this was, and this is like the 3rd reboot of the Twilight Zone, I think, because Paramount wanted to put something on Paramount. Not this is before Paramount Plus, right? It was what was it? CBS Online or something, and they really leaned into being able to do HBO level of content. Not the quality of HBO, but profanity and stuff like that.
Oh.
And I want my Twilight Zone. I want to be able to watch it with my 13-year-old.
Right, that makes
True.
sense.
It's a great gateway into like horror and stuff like that. having
And
a
just
good
the
opportunity.
psychologically thrilling things, like things that just make you think.
Oh yeah, there's stuff from the original Twilight Zone I still think about. Like you guys remember one where gunman in the Old West had kind of lost his edge, and he became an alcoholic. And Dr. Fate comes to town and gives him a serum, and it restores him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still think about that episode. It's great.
There's so many episodes of Twilight Zone that live rent free in my brain. I really like the classic though, where like well, at least I still have my books.
Yes.
No, there was time now. Like, I love that one. The Jamie checking in for $2 Canadian says Day of the Dead. That is a good choice. That is a good choice for Harm.
Oh, for Dawn of the Dead, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting choice.
Liga J81 for $2 asks Martin, even Kurt Russell in Thor: Love and Thunder?
If he was in Thor: Love, I thought that was.
Yeah, I don't think he
Russell
is.
Crowe.
He's in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
He's in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 as Ego the
That's what
Living
he's thinking
Planet.
of.
So yeah, I think
And
you
that time between Ego and Star Lord, it some good scenes.
Yeah.
Playing catch
Oh,
and
it's
stuff like that.
fantastic. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I have the hot take. I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 more than 1. I'm full of hot
Me
takes.
too.
People
No,
think
that's my.
so.
If that's a hot take, then I share that hot take.
It is. Most people like 2, but they don't like it as much as 1. Whereas I like, obviously I love them both because that's
Mhm.
where I got into the MCU, but I like 2 more than 1 personally. I like the dad storyline.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
it's heartfelt.
Yes, but Liga J81, you're thinking about Russell Crowe in Thor: Love and Thunder. Ruben Hart. Ruben Hart has just become a member of the Toontown TV channel. Welcome aboard, my friend. Let's see. Ryan Matheson says, I was scared as a 9-year-old by American Werewolf in London.
Was it his friend just periodically showing up more and more deteriorated that did it?
Probably.
Because
Or that great
that's-
transformation scene.
That's a great movie.
Jonas J. Campbell checking in for $5. He says, Marvin, you look taller.
I was
Eat your
gonna come as
vegetables,
Jonas
kids.
today.
I would never tell people to eat vegetables. Plants are trying to kill you. Got a lot to learn if you're going to be me. Jonas also says for another $5, Trish is correct. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is one of the best films in the
Like the
MCU.
cut of your jib, Jonas.
Yeah, Jonas, if you want to be on the panel, you can be.
I was gonna say, what's he doing in the chat?
Yeah, like you're paying money to talk. When I'm gonna send you a link, and if you want to come in, you can. If you can't, then don't worry about it because I know you've already been on several streams today. And all right, I have just sent you a link, Jonas. So if you want to, be a part of the action tonight, you are more than welcome to come in and make that happen. So let's see, guys. Oh, and Claywork saying guilty pleasure, The Frighteners, 1996. That's it.
That doesn't have to be a guilty pleasure.
Is that a good movie?
You can be proud of that one. It's okay. It's a solid.
I don't
flick.
believe in guilty pleasures anyway. Like what you like.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There's no guilt.
As long
in
as
this
it's
pleasure.
not, something
That's
that will
true,
find
Trish.
you guilty in a court of law.
there are some
You
very
know.
guilty pleasures out there.
But
Trish.
something's corny and you like it.
Trish, now you have me thinking like you see someone at a court of law and they have like an old TV in front of them playing like Batman and Robin or something like that.
so
They're like,
guilty,
no,
man.
no.
All right, guys, we have another story to get to today, and it is a story. Trish, as the second biggest Henry Cavill fan on this panel, you might
Who
enjoy
would be the
this.
first? You?
Yes, me. I'm a much bigger Henry Cavill fan than you are.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
How long is your tenure, buddy?
I'm a while.
When does it date back to, buddy?
I watched the Tutors. I don't remember much
Okay,
about
so you
it.
and
But
I are about.
What? Nobody remembers him in the Nobody remembers him in the Count of Monte Cristo.
I know
I
he
was
was
just
in it.
gonna
I never
say
saw
that.
it.
It's a great
that-
movie. If
or
you've
that
never
one
seen that
Hellraiser.
movie, you need to watch that movie.
All right, so I'm going to bring up an article here, guys, about Henry Cavill, and it is going to include it's going to include a report, and then I'm going to give you a scoop that our friend WW Pro did on his channel, and then I will give you a little bit more information that I got from one of my sources within Marvel. So this is going to be kind of a multiple layered thing
This
here.
is exciting.
Yeah. So the report that we saw is Henry Cavill had talks with Marvel in August confirmed. This is by Matt McGloin over at Cosmic Book News. Once
Okay.
again, my Comic-Con insiders are proven correct as now it is said Henry Cavill had talks with Marvel, with it said he or his people talk with Marvel in August. Well, back in August, I told you guys, okay, we get it. You were right. Also, recall how many Comic-Con insiders told me about Daredevil Born Again getting retooled, which was exactly what the trades reported months later. You know, my sources said that too. You're not that special, man. No, I'm kidding. They were definitely good scoops. What I was told about Henry Cavill and Marvel. Regarding what I was told about Henry Cavill and Marvel, I was told Cavill could be up to play Wolverine full-time in the MCU. Worth mentioning is that Henry Cavill is the only actor to have played Wolverine outside Hugh Jackman.
You know that.
Actually,
I guess I never
more
thought
I think
about it.
that's real. Yeah, I never thought about that either. Worth mentioning, the cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine was also received really well by fans. I was also told Cavill wants a lot of money to play Wolverine, well, of course, but Marvel did fork out the cash for the Russos and Robert Downey Jr., so why not for Henry Cavill? Rumors have offered Hugh Jackman could stick around the MCU as Wolverine, and that even a sequel to Deadpool and Wolverine might be in development. So whether or not Henry Cavill plays Wolverine after Secret Wars or a different character, I don't know. Well, our friend WW Pro on a recent episode of The Pro Show revealed that his sources have stated that Henry Cavill is indeed in talks with Marvel, but it is not to play Wolverine. It is to play Cyclops.
Perfect.
Which would be the most perfect casting of all time. Henry Cavill as Cyclops, he's too big to be Wolverine. He's a Superman-sized man. Therefore, he is too big to be Wolverine. However, he's the perfect size to be Cyclops, especially 90s Cyclops. Remember how he was built? Like, 90s Cyclops was a big dude. Am I right there, Martin?
Oh, absolutely. 90s Cyclops generally is my favorite X-Men.
Mine too.
Messed him up the last few years.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Isn't this who Bo DeMeo dressed up as in that drawing?
Yes, we don't need to talk about that, Trish. Trish, we're flying high right now. You don't need to bring us down into the muck to talk about Bo DeMeo and his.
That's a great idea.
I don't know.
In his softcore pornographic,
Bo DeMeo's
fan
a
art.
treasure.
Fan art that he, quote unquote, fan art that he probably had commissioned. To me, my X-Men. But yes, Henry Cavill as Cyclops would be amazing. Now, I talked to my source within Marvel, and I said, "Hey, have you heard anything about Henry Cavill being in talks to play Cyclops?" And my source said to me, "Yes, that is 100% on the table. However, it is not the only thing on the table. They are discussing multiple possible opportunities with Henry Cavill and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Another one being kicked around is Captain Britain, which, I mean, obviously,
fantastic for that.
We have been talking about him as Captain Britain for a very long time. That is a thing that has been kicking around for quite some time, and I think it would be amazing. I just don't think Captain Britain is a big enough character for him. I don't know. I would rather see him as one of the X-Men. Now, the other one that he said, which is I have not heard this anywhere else, so this might be kind of an exclusive here. He said that there is mock-up artwork done that was shown to Henry Cavill of Henry Cavill as Mr. Sinister.
I could see that.
I could too.
I was like waiting for Martin because I just felt like Martin had a reaction to that.
I like it. I don't like it as much as Cyclops, but
me neither. I like Cyclops a lot more, but make his skin eggshell white, make his lips black, put the little jewel in the middle of his head, and my goodness, he would be the perfect Mr. Sinister. I don't know how I feel. I've never seen him play like a bad guy other than like Mission Impossible. He was a bad guy, right? I didn't see that movie, but
I love.
He also would have made
Mission Impossible movie I've seen. I love that movie.
He also would have made a good Adam Warlock.
Yeah, he would have been.
If they had done Adam Warlock right.
So I'm going to tell you, like this segment is going to be in one of my videos for next week. So I'll have a full video on this, including this segment from the show, and you're going to see in the thumbnail. I put the Cyclops visor on Henry Cavill in the thumbnail, and it looks fantastic.
It's very strange how he's weirdly appropriate for a lot of these kind of I don't want to use the word iconic because people overuse it, but iconic characters. Like, think about all of the characters that he plays and he's good at and like looks right for, and it's a weird little grouping. Like, he was Sherlock Holmes. I liked him in the Enola Holmes movies. He was Geralt. He was Superman. They're talking like, I'm thinking like he fits. Isn't he in Highlander too?
He's
in
going to be
all
whatever,
these
whether it's
things.
Duncan or whether it's Duncan or whether it's Connor. He is going to be whatever McLeod is going to be
Just
featured.
interesting. And then he's always thrown around for James Bond, which I will be disappointed if it's anyone but him for James Bond.
He's
so
a
I'm
perfect
just-
James Bond. It won't be him
So,
because
if you've seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is a good movie, he's perfect for James Bond.
Making
I just
good
don't know how many people saw
casting, making good casting already sets you about halfway there. I think part of the reason why he fits so well with a lot of the comic book characters is because dudes in comics are usually built with, like they're rocking the arms, they're super muscular. The women are looking like they're, old school Victoria's Secret models, not current. And like, I think a lot of people can tolerate even a movie that's not very good if the character was casted right and, they're not at least portraying the character. If you can at least kind of shut your brain off and watch someone like how they were portrayed in the comics, I think you've got gold there. And I think Hollywood could learn a lot. And I think casting Cavill as Cyclops, who used to be my favorite X-Men as a kid, I think that could do a lot of favors for a lot of people.
It's gold, Jerry.
Actually, this seems like a good group of people to ask. This is not my forte. But
okay.
Back with the X-Men movies that I have not seen. Taylor Kitsch was Gambit, if I have my facts correct.
Yes, in the Wolverine, right?
Or
Wolverine.
I don't know which one.
Origins.
Just one of them. I just know it was one of them. But I love Friday Night Lights, the show, so I love Taylor Kitsch, and I'm kind of surprised that his career is a little intriguing to me. But what I remember hearing about him specifically was he was like decent. It's just that the movie was bad.
He had 2 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, like it was one of those things where people were like, we could have gotten into it, but everything just the way it worked out.
John Carter killed his career, and that's unfortunate because I think that was actually a good movie. I would have liked to have seen it continue.
I hear people say that, so I'm like, I don't understand. It failed, but then I hear people who have like actually seen it. They say they like it, so I'm so confused as to how that was such a career problem.
I feel like it was just somehow the wrong time. I think it came out, and some people started bad mouthing it, and then everybody dogpiled. I don't feel like it was a bit. I don't feel like it was a bad movie.
Yeah, it was good. I don't think it really was a good encapsulation of the Barsoom books or even the first one, but it was a good movie.
I do wonder if some of it is just people being illiterate about the character, because if you don't know who the character is or where he came from, you might think this is a bad knockoff of Superman. There's so many tropes that actually robbed from John Carter that came into later entertainment that people don't realize that that's actually the origin for a lot of this stuff. So they may have felt like it was a knockoff without realizing that actually all the other things you know and like are a knockoff of it.
So to steer it back to Henry Cavill and Cyclops, I just pulled up a bunch of fan art of him as Cyclops. Safe for work, don't worry. I have my filters on.
Well, you didn't say it was Beau DeMayo, so
yes, it's not Beau DeMayo. So guys, look at how good that is. Like, look how perfect he looks as Cyclops.
I can hear the theme song in my head.
Yeah. Like it would be the perfect casting. It really would.
I'm very cynical about anything Henry Cavill now. He's been burned so many times.
Here's the thing: he's been burned so many times, but that's because he's not going to take it. So when he
he ain't going to take it.
That's why he ain't going to take it anymore. I know that when he is in a comic book like property and it makes it to the theater post Snyderverse, because that was crap and it was his big break, and I understand why he did it. But now, when he's in something that makes it to theaters, it's a comic book property, I know that it's good. I know that it's going to be not even good, but just respectful of the source material, because we've seen him walk away. We saw him walk away from The Witcher. Did he walk away from Warhammer, or was that just like him threatening to walk away from Warhammer?
I think he's still involved in it, right?
Last I heard, he was still involved.
Yeah.
Feels to me like a dead project, though. I think that it's in development hell because there's been all the controversy around what Games Workshop is doing, and I suspect that I don't think they want to make a big announcement, but I think they're just going to let it quietly die.
I don't know that it will
video
quietly
game
die.
hitting big.
Yeah, Space Marine 2 really churned the water because it's like everybody can point to it and say, that's what you do.
Now, Lauren, I would say that Henry Cavill has proven that he's able to take the Boy Scout, for lack of a better term, type heroes and make them, you're able to kind of connect with them, and he's able to kind of portray a a toughness while also at the same time being wholesome. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't disagree. I have a hard time getting past his Superman, though, and that's not his fault. That was not his fault. But I'll never agree with Snyder's vision of Clark ever.
Oh, of course, not, ever.
Or Pa Kent. It's like they got that so fundamentally wrong that it's difficult for me to get past. What I like about Cavill, and to be fair, I haven't watched a lot of his stuff, to be honest. But when he's in interviews and when he's talking about the things he's passionate about, he is one of us. He's a guy that loves this stuff. And he's one of the rare people. When you see people go and do the PR circuit, and they're talking about how they love this character and they love this role, and they're just so excited to play them, and they've never touched anything related to this character until they got the job. That's not Henry. This is a guy who plays with his toys and gets on his computer and plays games anonymously and geeks out about it when on talk shows, to the point that the other people on the panel start teasing him about it. I love that about the guy. And that's what tells me it's like, when they do that, when I've seen him geek out about Warhammer 40K, and some folks on the panel were actually mocking him about how into it he was, and he's still passionately talking about it. It's like
he doesn't care.
This is a guy.
He loves it.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You want somebody who's going to care about being authentic to what it really is, and that's where Hollywood has gone so wrong, and why his willingness to walk away is so right.
I saw an infuriating thing recently where I don't know if it was an old thing that was just popping back up or if it was said again, but the lady who was the showrunner for The Witcher talking about how she was so annoyed by Henry Cavill because he was so passionate and so insistent about the source material. I'm like, yeah, he cares. He's a fan. He's part of the fan base, the core audience that you should be trying to appeal to.
You should be so grateful that your lead actor is that enthusiastic and that passionate about what he's there to do. And it's like, not only are they not grateful, they hate it. And I don't get it, because it's like what Lauren just said about interviews. It's so likable in interviews that it's like the opposite of like what we were just talking about with Wicked. He's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
He's never ever going to say anything.
Because for him, it's not actually about him the way it is for Cynthia Erivo. For him, it's actually about Geralt. It's actually about Clark. It's actually about the characters that he's playing, because he has a genuine love for them. Kevin told me a story one time. He knows somebody who was one of the trainers I think he either knows the guy or he knows a guy who knows the guy who was one of the trainers for Henry Cavill.
I know the story.
Superman. You know the story. And so he said Cavill was squatting, and he was squatting like a really heavy weight, and he got stuck. And so the trainer was about to come help him, and all of a sudden he just hears, "I'm Superman. I'm Superman. I'm Superman." And he just exploded up, and I was like, okay, this guy's allowed to be Superman.
Love it.
Oh my
Hollywood's
God.
got a long history of taking the guy who really knows the stuff and pushing them aside.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
The James Bond series. Probably the most book accurate James Bond, the guy who was most interested in getting it right, was Timothy Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's not exactly that EM Productions pushed him to the side. He actually stepped away because he thought he was too old for it by the time the rights issues were cleared up for GoldenEye. But there's never been a more book accurate James Bond than Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
People are so hard on him.
The thing is they're like, your passion is getting in the way of my vision. And that's where I get so mad. I'm like F your vision. F your you're making this for the fans. It's for the fans. It's not for you. It's for the fans. You're not making it for yourself. You're making something for an audience to consume. And that is what drives me crazy. This mentality in Hollywood that you're here to experience my vision by the grace of me. No, you are here to make something that we want to see, that we want to spend money on. How dare you? That's what I say to that.
I think there's two things that contribute to this, and one is, like you said, it's pure ego. When you have writers and showrunners who want to put their mark on a property, that's the goal for them. They want their name associated with the property, and they have the ego to think that they can do it better than what's gone before. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is kind of explaining that reaction to why people are irritated with somebody like a Henry Cavill, for instance. Is that one of the things I learned when I started appearing on various YouTube channels and talking about Star Wars and things is that there's a weird thing in geek communities where everybody wants to be the king of the nerds. And as soon as you misstate a fact, or as soon as you have an opinion that's contrary to somebody, there's going to be people in the comments that are going to say, well, what about this issue in this book on page 43, paragraph 2, word number 5? And it's like,
it was
guys,
6, Lauren.
It's not competition. It's really not. It's like sometimes you forget something when you're talking extemporaneously. It's not like you have perfect recall. And there's always going to be somebody that knows some little fact or thing that you don't. You can't possibly experience it at all. But there is a segment of people that sees it as a competition. And so I think there's some of that probably happens on these sets as well. When these guys do have the job of being a showrunner or a writer or something like that, and then an actor comes in and says, no, you're doing it all wrong. That probably does feel threatening. I'm not excusing it, but I suspect that's where some of that tension comes from.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, joining the panel right now, fresh, I'm assuming off of Trick or Treating, the one, the only, Mr. Kevin Apollo.
Hello, everybody.
Kev, weigh in real fast on this as we end this topic. So the rumors were that Henry Cavill is in talks with Marvel. He has met with Marvel already. The rumors were to play Wolverine, but Pro has a source that said Cyclops.
Cyclops? I saw.
Yes.
That
now,
excellent Cyclops.
Before you get too deep into it, I will say my source corroborated the Cyclops, but also said that 2 others are on the table. Captain Britain is on the table still, and Mr. Sinister is on the table.
Stop with the
Cyclops.
Brian is not nearly popular enough to be wasting Henry Cavill on, unless we're going to do some cool. He's back to being Peter Parker's college roommate, and they go on adventures together, and that's like a deep cut that no one even cares about. The let's see, you know what? Other than my having a soft spot for John Travolta being Mr. Sinister because of Battlefield Earth.
He would be a good Mr. Sinister, I think.
I'm happy with all 3. I would like to see it be Wolverine because it means we'll get a lot more of him. But if Cyclops is going to be treated with some respect, I've got some worries about that with Marvel.
Of course.
I don't know.
But again, I have said before, Henry Cavill is the seal of approval that I have on a geek property. He is at the point now where we've seen him walk away, and if he's in it, if he makes it to the screen, then you know that the script is at least faithful to the source material. We saw him walk away from The Witcher when they got away from it. But guys, I have some super chats we have to get to before we move on to our next one. Is that going to be our theme for super chats now, Trish?
I have a tendency to do that. I'm sorry. Just say random things. Super chat.
Oh my goodness.
Jamie Earhart, like a 90s Disney cartoon theme song on like the Disney afternoon.
My goodness. Jamie Earhart for $2 Canadian. Marv wants to see what's under the tights. Hey, you leave my love of that gorgeous man alone. I just happen to be a big fan of Henry Cavill.
I always say that I jokingly, obviously, have more competition for Henry Cavill with guys than with women that I know. Every single guy I know can give me a run for my money with their love for that man. It's I love it. I love seeing guys just absolutely lose themselves over Henry Cavill. It's really kind of funny and endearing because I get it.
Dude seems like he'd be a good hang.
Yeah,
he does.
I want to play video games and work out with Henry Cavill.
Liquid Fox. Liquid Fox coming in for $50 Canadian.
Oh,
Thank you so much. Because even though The Thing is my favorite horror movie, I feel Alien should at least be mentioned. It's my favorite in the Alien series. Have a fantastic wedding / honeymoon, Marv. You deserve it for the laughs you bring us. Thank you so much, Liquid Fox.
Sweet.
Thank you for being a part of this community and for the community over at Tooneytown Wrestling as well. You are a valued part of that community. And yes, Alien should be mentioned anytime horror movies are mentioned. It is probably one of the best of all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I gotta play a clip now. You know what? Just because you guys are so powerful here tonight with your generosity.
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000! What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right!
And since you guys are making it rain here tonight,
all I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind. Everybody hands go up, and they stay there, and they stay there.
thank you guys very, very much. And the generosity just continues in this chat. Johnny Cage for $20 says, "Hey, Mom, just want to congratulate you and Mrs. Movie Monster on your upcoming nuptials and hope you have a wonderful trip to your honeymoon." Thank you very much, Johnny Cage. I very much appreciate you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And you know what? That's gonna get you another clip because oh, here we go. My favorite. And you can get a little bit about my favorite thing that I like to say to one Zack Snyder. I hate that man with all my heart and soul. Hey, that song rocks. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but it's just.
Do you think The Road was an attempt at trying to mooch off of a coin for The Witcher?
Yeah, probably. The Witcher's Road was absolutely an attempt to create a toss a coin to your Witcher type. I don't hate that song. I just hate the way it was used. If that makes sense.
What, the Witcher one?
No. I love everything
the Agatha
about
one?
that song. The Agatha one, the Witch's Road song, which we're mentioning Agatha, and it's going to agitate Lauren. So I'll move off that.
I stopped watching it. Full stop.
Yeah, you didn't make it. The end was last night, Trish. It was terrible.
Literally didn't even I forgot that 1 week and it was done. It was done. I would just continue to forget about it.
I would like to point out though, the Penguin is still going amazingly strong. This week was fantastic.
I was so upset when I realized last night there were 2 episodes.
Oh, I was there. Lauren, I was there. I was there in the group chat, Lauren, when you were like, "There are 2 of these," in all caps. I was like, oh boy.
No. That was like a final slap in the face. And it's like in the middle of it, too. I got interrupted. I had somebody show up. So I had this stupid show paused. And I had to get through the conversation and wait for them to leave. And it made me like half an hour late to the show, which meant I had to endure almost 110 minutes because I had to wait for half an hour.
With the dread of knowing that there was more to come. Yeah, I agree. Oh my goodness.
It's so bad. I literally today, the show, my pain was over, but it was still resonating. It felt like a wound. Like I was still cringing at it. It wouldn't go away, man.
I don't like to see Lauren in pain. But when Lauren is in pain, it's very entertaining.
You welcome to the pro audience. You sound exactly like the pro. When Lauren had to give his impassioned speech, he was like, "I've been good to you people."
You know, the thing is that Pro is taking a specific amount of glee out of this. I think that he's deliberately now looking for things to make me watch that I don't want to watch. This is feeling very much like the origin story of MST3K, you know, and it's getting to be a bit much, and I'm very worried about the Acolyte thing coming up because everybody was saying last night, "Oh no, it's worse than Agatha." And knowing that I actually care about Star Wars, we're supposed to be splitting this up over 2 nights. I'm going to have to watch 4 episodes in a go. You know,
Lauren, just so you know, you're not doing it alone. I told Culture I volunteered to be there as well, mostly because I just want to be a part of watching what happens when you actually see this. Because I never thought I'd go back to the Acolyte, but we'll do it. We'll do it. It's for charity.
Your pain, Lauren. That'll do it.
It's for charity.
There may be murder.
Oh my goodness. John JID 999 for 199 says Shannon Sharp geeks out over 80s wrestling. So cool. That is pretty cool. And Johnny Cage for another $20. Henry Cavill was great in the movie Sandcastle. It wasn't a major role, but he was great at portraying a real-life special forces operator. It shows how he can be great in any role. Yeah, because he's a man-sized man.
What happened to that movie where he looked like he was going to make, I don't know, tie a damsel to the railroad tracks in like the early 20s? That was that Guy Ritchie movie, and he had like this mustache and everything, and he saved someone from drowning.
You talking about Snidely Whiplash?
Could you imagine?
It was Snidely Whiplash-ish. It was the guy who
live
was
action
Alex
Snidely Whiplash.
Pettifer. I think it was Alex Pettifer that he like saved from drowning on the set, and it was really funny because he had to promote his last season of The Witcher, and he was just like, he just put a picture up on Instagram with like no caption. I think it's just like Witcher season 3, and then his very next post was like a novel this long talking about how amazing it was to work on this latest Guy Ritchie movie.
Was this that Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare?
I think it was that, and then just
Decent
like I
clip.
never heard about it. Was it good?
Decent, yeah.
All right, guys.
Guy Ritchie likes working with him, clearly.
All right, guys. So
but fans gave it like a 90%.
we got to move on because we have all been threatened, guys. A threat has gone out. The gauntlet has been thrown down. We are all in very real danger because Victoria Alonso has said that she looks forward to coming back.
No.
Who is that?
Now, those of you that don't know Victoria Alonso, she was Kevin Feige's second in command in the Avengers Endgame MCU. She is believed by many, alongside Feige, to be the architect of the MCU. She is the one who very loudly questioned why the X-Men are called the X-Men, because they are not human, you idiot. They are X-Men instead of being human because they are mutants. Thank you. She also said America Chavez was going to be, the biggest thing in the Marvel universe going forward. She is the architect of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's horrors. No, and I know Kevin's dying to say every time I say that, don't let Feige off the hook. We do not let Feige off the hook. If Feige is Palpatine, Victoria Alonso is Vader.
Yes, she was very much so the heir apparent.
Yes. You know what?
And the one responsible for the mantle strategy.
Yes, the mantle strategy. She was the one that said, like, it's not Steve Rogers that people love. It's Captain America that people love. It's not Tony Stark. It's Iron Man. And we can just take these mantles, instead of recasting, we can just take the mantle and switch it to just anyone else in the world, and people will still like it. And that has been proven abysmally wrong.
I wrote a piece on that Park Place about that very thing.
It's absolutely insulting to think that, because here's the thing, the mantle means nothing. You cannot separate Steve Rogers from Captain America because Steve Rogers is Captain America. They are the same. Captain America is another word for Steve Rogers. Iron Man is another word for Tony Stark.
Yeah, it's the whole thing about the character. The reason we love the characters is because of their hearts. It's because they do the right thing when that's difficult.
Correct.
That's not about the shield or the suit or any of that stuff. It's always about the person wearing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's like when you see those movies, when the superhero gets depowered, it becomes more compelling because they don't have that crutch to lean on anymore. It's that they now have to deal with it as a person and persevere without all the advantages they normally have.
Right.
That's what makes these things great. And it's about the character, not the character's name.
And if you get this right, geeks will spend decades arguing about who the best Robin is or who the best Flash is.
Mm-hmm.
We love doing that stuff.
Yeah. Robin and Flash are probably the two biggest examples of a mantle change working. Green Lantern also. DC can do it. Marvel can't. Marvel's heroes are just so like the hero is the mantle. Like the person is the hero. DC kind of has a lot of those, Green Lantern, Flash, Robin. But those Robins, the thing is, like, you never got rid of Dick Grayson to make Jason Todd Robin. Dick Grayson went on to become something else, and we never lost Dick Grayson.
Well, a big part of that was the strategy change when, when at the end of the 40s and 50s, when the Golden Age heroes lost their luster and they rebooted them. DC was very smart to not want to chuck, Jay Garrick and Alan Scott, out with the bathwater. They found a way to weave them in and kept everybody happy. And then the multiple Earth thing kept things really interesting. And then, it's, as things tend to sometimes with comic books, get a little out of control. But it worked because DC was uniquely set up for it to work. Mm-hmm. The Green Lantern Corps, you essentially, if you're a Green Lantern, you're a cop. So you can have multiple Green Lanterns as long as people like the character. You can do it.
It is weird that our sector has so many Green Lanterns.
Yes.
2814 has got what, 3-4 of them?
Well, we got more because we got Simon and Jessica now. There have been attempts at explaining that, but it's one of those, whatever. Earth's the center of the universe. Let's just roll with it.
Oh my goodness! But when you pass the lantern from Hal to Kyle for that first time, it was because Hal became a villain, which I think was fascinating. The parallax stuff is absolutely fascinating. Mm-hmm. But so Victoria Alonso was fired. We should remember, because let's be real. Let's be real as to why she was fired. Victoria Alonso apparently walked into Bob Chapek's office when Bob Chapek was the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, before Bob Iger launched his coup and ousted him while in the middle of the night on a Sunday when he was at an Elton John concert. And she said that the Disney Company needed to make an official response. The Disney Company, a private company, needed to make an official response to a government resolution, the Parental Rights in Education Act in Florida, that Ron DeSantis had put up. Now, I'm not making a political statement here. I'm not speaking about the bill itself. I am saying that private companies do not need to be getting involved in government business. So, apparently the conversation took a long time. And then eventually she walked out and Chapek said, all right, fine, I'll do it. He went out there and he did it. And because of that, Disney lost the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which will cost Disney over the next several decades a total sum estimated of $1 trillion. And you cost a company $1 trillion, they're going to find a reason to get rid of you. And that's what they did. They found the smallest, littlest violation of her employment agreement, and they used it as an excuse to get rid of her. They threw her out on the street corner. Kevin Feige was just like, who's Victoria Alonso? I don't know who that is. And gloriously, turned her over to the wolves in response to his failures as well. And we were rid of her. However, we have never been rid of her because her name is still on everything that comes out, because concept to creation, you're looking at probably a 5-year period on everything. So I think we're about to get to the point where we'll be without Victoria Alonso, but where else might she pop up? Victoria Alonso saluted the engineering community and hinted at a return to filmmaking as she accepted honorary membership in the Society of Motion Picture and Television Engineers during its annual conference's closing gala Thursday at the Ray Dolby Ballroom in Hollywood. In what may have been her first return to the stage, aka you don't know if it's her first return to the stage, so you didn't feel like looking it up, so that's why you say May. Jonas pointed that out on that Park Place. Since her very public 2023 split with Marvel, the studio's former president of physical production concluded her speech by saying, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I look forward to coming back and telling many, many, many more stories." I had to read it with that air of threat behind it, because let's be real, that's 100% what it was. The last 18 months, I have been doing a lot of thinking and been quiet, which is not who I am, said the producer and VFX vet. I have chosen tonight to come and be my first appearance because of the respect I have for this community of thinkers. You are the grounding force that defines how we come about and who we become in our storytelling and how we show it. What it sounds like, the depth by which we can show everything and we think and dream about. And you allow us to touch people, to make them laugh, to make them cry, and God forbid, to make them think. You made me think, Victoria Alonso. You made me think that you're an idiot multiple times. So look, there's no way she's coming back to Marvel. There's no way she's coming back to Disney. That's not going to happen. They paid a lot of money to get her to go away. So Clearly, she must have something going on. I don't know.
She probably knows where a body or two are buried, and she'll weasel her way back into somewhere.
Do you think? But do you think that she has the ability, like after what she did with Disney, to get hired by another big studio, or do you think it's going to be small projects for the rest of her career?
No, the one thing that we know for certain is that these people always fail and land on their feet. So someone will take her somewhere, and fine, she gets a small studio, and if it happens to do well, someone will suffer from a short-term memory lapse and let her back in. I think just kind of with the way things are trending, when she does pop back up, she might be in a different place, because the box office dollars are telling people, we don't care what you think, just make us entertained.
Now, the rumors are currently that Hollywood is starting to get away from the activist producers, which she is one of them. Now, as they're currently purging the activist producers, according to people like Chris Gore, I don't know if there's a future in Hollywood for Victoria Alonso, a very outspoken activist producer who has made it very clear that her only objective in storytelling is to tell stories that are based around women, based around people of color, based around gay people, and to the point where she wanted to take one of Marvel's most recognizable brand names, the X-Men, and change it to the mutants, because of nothing.
And listen,
bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, let's see how it works out for him.
I'm not entirely unconvinced that it wasn't rolled out, because that The Mutant saga keeps floating around. I think only by virtue of they have no choice but to call them the X-Men, that they're going to call them the X-Men.
Well, you know what we learned by what she did with Bob Chapek, that apparently when she wants something, she does not let up on it until she gets her way. And I have a feeling that if she remained in power, we would have gotten the mutants instead of the X-Men. And thankfully she's gone, and thankfully we will get the X-Men. I mean, look,
Boda Mail probably saved us.
The unsung hero.
Yes,
Tell you, treasure. Man's a treasure.
Oh my goodness. So Victoria Alonso out, might be coming back to Hollywood. Hopefully not for Disney, Marvel. Yeah, I hope she's never involved in anything that I have to watch ever again. All right, guys. It is time to, I think we have a couple more super chats to get to before we move on to our next topic. We are going to end a little bit early tonight just because my family is landing at the airport pretty soon, and I'm not picking them up, but I do want to head over and see them tonight. Going Shogi for $10 says, Marvin, I have a off-topic question. Every Halloween, I put them on while I answer the door, and I'm curious which is superior in your opinion, Jim Henson's Storyteller or the Storyteller Greek Myths?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I've got an answer.
What's your answer?
Storyteller, the original.
The Greek Myths.
No, Greek Myths was the second one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The original Storyteller. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that too.
Yeah, that one. My favorite of that series, and I think there's 9 of those episodes, is the one with the guy that played Muldoon in Jurassic Park, where he plays the Russian veteran coming back from the wars, and he confronts the demons, and he gets them to promise him to help him with something in the future, and he just kind of grows in society and eventually sort of conquers death. You remember that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's a great story. It's really well played.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, moving right along. Let's have a look at our next story, because guys, the gift that keeps on giving has given another gift. The most wonderful thing to ever happen to content creation has had another episode, shall we say, and that is Rachel Zegler has returned to prominence.
Oh, yay. Oh, I missed her so much.
Right? I know you did, Trish. So I missed her because every time that she opens her mouth, views go up. So I like say more things, please do more things. But this is an interesting one, guys. It's not just her shooting her mouth off. Yes, she shoots her mouth off. She was in a interview with Cosmopolitan. So you can imagine the softest of softballs, the friendliest of outlets to her. But they did something interesting. So let's take a look. All right. So this is a little far into it because I didn't want to bore you with most of it.
Thing about yourself.
What's your favorite thing about herself? She says
My humility.
everything. Probably my ability to say no, which is newfound, and also my resilience through knowing when to hide to rebuild myself. And they say, oh, interesting. Give us an example of the last time you hid. Last summer. Why? Because the internet was raging at about something beyond my control. You got bleeping canceled? For being brown, for having brown skin, for playing Snow White. There was a lot of harassment from a certain group of people. They were showing up at my apartment and screaming profanities. But guys, look what's right here. Little footnote on a statement.
What could that say?
And look down here. You know what? I'm going to make it bigger just so you guys can all see. Because, let's see, right here. It says, while doing early interviews about her role as Snow White, Rachel called out the original 1937 movie for its dated ideas about women, among other things. The backlash was swift and harsh. She got fact-checked by Cosmopolitan.
That bastion of journalism.
Guys, when she was still like the next Hollywood it girl, she would have 100% been the person that they would have shielded for anything. They would allow her to sit there and say that she got canceled for being canceled. You didn't get canceled because the people that are mad at you don't cancel people. Because they're not infants. But it was not for being brown. It was not for having brown skin. It was not for playing Snow White. It was because you attacked Snow White. Because you went on a tirade attacking a movie that changed the course of the industry that people love. A movie that you are now remaking, and the target audience, partially for that, should be people who like that movie.
It's so funny because no one really cared that she was Snow Off-White. People were more irritated about the 7-day thems. And even then, she spoiled that by being a weirdo and attacking Charming. So, what are you on about, you brat?
She is a brat. Like, that is it. She is just a brat. She's a petulant brat. So then they go on to say,
apparently that's a good thing.
Yeah, were you responding where I wanted to in a way that made it seem like it was tongue-in-cheek? Then it got to a point where it was not funny anymore, and I really hated myself for something that other people were telling me about myself. What were they telling you, that you blast? And then they say, I think people are starting to see performers, maybe because of screens, as non-human. She goes, it's an idolization instead of humanization that strips us of the ability to make mistakes and have control of our own narrative. I came into this industry during the era of streaming, so everybody that doesn't go to the theaters, they see you on their screens at home, and they think they know you because they hang out with you on their couch every day. Nobody watches you every day.
This whole segment, I have like 9 things to say, but go ahead. I won't interrupt.
Go ahead,
you.
Trish. We can take a little break. What you got, Trish?
First of all, people are not seeing. Actually, can you put it back up? Just because I want to make sure I get it right. Thank you. It says they're really seeing performers as non-human. No, we're seeing them for who they are now.
Yeah, we're seeing you more. You used to be idolized. Performers used to be idolized and held on a pedestal. Now we're actually seeing you as the people you are, and that is not a good thing.
So then it's the opposite of her response, which is it's an idolization instead of a humanization. No, it's the reverse of that. And then no one's stripping you of your ability to make mistakes. But here you made a mistake, and you're acting like you didn't make a mistake. I usually say when something makes a mistake, people aren't usually angry at the mistake so much as how that mistake is handled. So it's like people can be kind of forgiving of some stuff as long as you handle that the right way. And she clearly didn't and doesn't.
I think the most telling thing about her statement is that she wasn't able to control her own narrative. It's like, yeah, this is reality. Reality isn't a narrative. Narrative is the image you want to put forth. That's the obfuscation of reality. You're just getting called on it.
Yeah, she's talking like it's a movie script, and it's like, no,
She is
we're
saying
not
something
following
that
that.
she's saying something here poorly that I've been trying to put into words myself for a long time. Fame is fundamentally corrosive to the soul. There is an asymmetric relationship that people have with the people they see on TV or movies or whatever, because you have a relationship with that character. And the actor has no relationship with you whatsoever. So because of that division, people react to famous people poorly, whether or not it's heaping praise on them or heaping venom or whatever. Neither one is the right thing. They're just people too. I think she's trying to say that. She's not saying it well.
No, not at all. And she goes on to say, I show up. And by the way, guys, I know this is my Mercedes Monet voice. I only have so many obnoxious female voices. So, you could, yes, it's the same thing. They are basically the same vapid, empty person. I show up to set. I will show up to the show. I'll do my job, but that's where my job ends. I don't have to maintain appearances of being an ingenue when I'm on the street every day. No, nobody expects you to be an ingenue on the street every day. You know what? I'm going to break one of my own rules here, and I'm going to use a little saucy language. They expect you to not be a bitch, because that's the expectation for every single person walking the planet.
This is what Jonas doesn't hang out with us.
I know.
He didn't show up, did he?
He didn't show up. So you know what? I figured it was safe. So the expectation is not to be a jerk. The expectation is to just be a normal human being, to have some humility about yourself, to not get on your high horse about every cause that you think is worth mentioning. Just shut up and live your life.
Well,
you are Go ahead,
finish,
Trish.
finish.
I was going to say, you're an actor. You're a pretender. You dress up and play make-believe for a living. What you do is not high art. Okay? You are not gifting humanity with your work. You are just you're supposed to be entertaining people. That's it. And that's what the whole of Hollywood needs to realize, that what they are doing is not changing the world. Go ahead, Trish.
Kind of on what Martin was saying about what she's saying, and he thinks she's saying it wrong, which I agree with. I think part of where she's going wrong is everything that she's saying has this very, and I guess it's to be expected because Hollywood actress, but very self-centered. Like, I don't have to maintain appearances of being an ingenue while I'm on the street every day. First of all, I never looked at her and thought ingenue personally. Right. But second of all, I also don't expect anyone to maintain an appearance of anything except be who you are. And then it's like, I don't know if you have that experience where people expect you to be on 24/7 and want to chat and have a conversation. Like, it seems very much like, oh, the fame part of it, where I get what Martin explained it well. She's not explaining it well. And it's like, I really respect Gary Oldman because he put it as, I act and that's my job. And being famous is a whole other job. I don't have time for it. And I want nothing to do with it. And he's not a jerk. He just doesn't feed into that whole thing. He does what he does, and he's excellent at his job. And I really feel like a lot of these actors could look at someone like him and learn a lot. But I just, so it's like, once Martin explains it, I see it. But because everything she says seems so tickled with herself and thinking like how she sees herself is how everyone else is viewing her, it's coming out all skewed.
It's a disingenuous pity party.
Yeah.
She's trying to paint herself the victim while also reveling in the attention that she says she doesn't want.
And let's look at the next paragraph, because that's what she says right here. I don't know if you ever had that experience where people expect you to be on 24/7 and want to chat and have a conversation, because I've had a negative reaction from the general public at times. I don't know what people are thinking when they point at me on the subway. If I'm passing a pizza place on a certain street, I don't want to be gawked at, because that's not the job. Do you know what I mean? Yes, that is the job. That's what goes along with the job. That, look, is it terrible? Yes. But you walked into this knowing that that's what happens. You are not the first person to be harassed by paparazzi because you're famous. If you don't want to be harassed by the paparazzi, don't be famous. You could have been an accountant. You could have been a teacher. You could have been a doctor. You could have been a lawyer. But you chose to be a famous actress. And now you're not going to be able to sit here and complain because everything that happens to famous actresses is now happening to you. That's the game. That's the reality of the situation. You're not going to break the mold because you went out there and were petulant about it. Is it terrible? Yes. Are the paparazzi scum? Yes. But they're coming after you because you're famous, because you wanted fame, you wanted the money, you wanted the opportunities. Congratulations. You got it. You won. It's not free of consequence.
You know what's funny is one of the only things that I actually like about living in New York, because that's really legitimately the only thing, is you can live in New York City. And like I remember when the soaps, when there were more than 4 soaps in existence, like you would see celebrities walking around and see New Yorkers not give a care. They didn't care. It's just another person who is on the street trying to go to work while I'm trying to go to work. So like that sweet spot exists. But if you want to have a neon sign hanging over your head and screaming, "Look at me, look at me, look at me, don't look at me," there's going to be an issue. And yes, you know what? I think TMZ is one of the worst things that happened to Western civilization.
Oh, yes.
But, that's always kind of been there. Just be happy that it's not as bad as it is, for our British brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Clay Work says in the chat, none of what she says jives in the greatest scheme of the situation. It's a typical narcissist defense mechanism to focus on a broader concept while ignoring the context of the discussion. Absolutely. I can't wait to have you on the panel when I get back. It's a good friend of mine.
There was a way to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Martin. I was done.
There was a way to say this where everybody wins. She could have said something like, I made a mistake, or I made a lot of mistakes in my career, even though it's a new one. But early on, I thought that I had to be on 24/7. I thought I had to be everything everybody expected all the time. But I've come to realize that the fans are a lot more savvy than that. They're not naive. They can accept that I'm a real person. That's the way to win this.
Mm-hmm. But the problem is when she opens her mouth to speak, she always says the most abrasive, counterproductive thing that could possibly be said. That's her superpower.
She lacks the humility, the humility and the hubris to pull this off. She is everything that she says she's not, and it's unfortunate. But she was groomed to be a petulant, expectant child, and thus she lives the life of a petulant, expectant child.
Oh, look, she's going to respond to what we said here.
Hey.
For some people, it is the job, so I think it gets boring. For sure, people say like, "Well, that's what you signed up for." It's like, no, I signed up to make movies. I signed up to be a Broadway show. I signed up to make music. I didn't send to be a plastic doll for a bunch of people to pull apart and play with. Nobody's trying to pull apart and play with you, you sicko. Everybody's first comment to you is like, "Twitter's not the world, babe. Just move on." And it's like, well, my dog is scared of cameras because of how many people used to be outside my building. No, that is what you signed up for. You could not have gotten into this not knowing about the press, not knowing about the price of fame.
We need that clip from Mad Men. That's what the money's for.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite things of all time.
Oh my goodness. So then we go into like her dream collaborators and stuff like that. So now we're back to the fluff, but she got fact checked by Cosmopolitan, guys. Now what this says to me is Hollywood might be done cleaning up her messes for her. The woman has never appeared, and I'm going to say woman because she is a grown woman. Yes, you're 23, you're still dumb, but you know what? We're not going to treat you like you're a teenager because you are a grown woman. At the end of the day, she's never made anything that has been even moderately successful. The closest has probably been the Hunger Games movie, and that is the lowest drawing Hunger Games movie in the Hunger Games IP. So
that's not because of her.
Yeah, definitely not. West Side Story, which was built on her back, bombed horrendously. She took a role in Shazam! Fury of the Gods, bombed horrendously. This Snow White movie, if the like to dislike ratio on this on the trailer is to be believed, it's going to bomb horrendously. So is Hollywood still seeing her as a viable thing they want to invest in? Or is it now to the point where when she says these things, she's not going to have the friendly media to scoop her up in their arms and protect the way they've been protecting her? You would never have seen, even 6 months ago, them them fact check her like that, to put a footnote on a thing that she said and be like, actually, the reason people were going at her was because she did this. Thoughts? Anybody?
I think the POC shield is starting to fracture because people aren't just tired of it; they're bored with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that has been a major impetus behind her reign of terror. She can throw up the "I'm brown" shield, and it stops some people from issuing very valid criticism, and allows others to just allow her to go be a vapid juggernaut.
Yep.
And those days are kind of coming to an end. So even if it's not so much Hollywood is done with her, a lot of the protections given, that well is running dry.
Yep. I know you hate when I use this clip in association with these people, but
Shields up.
Well, it's also just the sheer hubris of saying things like that, using the POC shield when you're making millions of dollars, and the average person that's going to see your movies is probably making 5 figures, 6 if they're lucky. There's only so much of that you can take. You're not in any kind of a dangerous situation, lady. There's the people that are coming to support you are giving up hard-earned dollars that you couldn't even appreciate the value of.
Exactly. They are the reason why you are permitted to make the money that you make, to live the life that you live. That's it. Period. End.
If she wasn't, I don't know, open or pushing about who her grandparents were, parents were, I wouldn't know where she was from. I mean, I know Southern Italians and Southern French people who are darker than her.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. She's like, I'm brown. I'm like if you're talking about like nationality wise, sure, but like physically, no. Like
her name too does not indicate anything. You know,
you're like a vanilla caramel swirl, lady. Like, you're not brown. I don't know. She's mixed race. She's half Latina, half white, I believe.
Yeah, Polish.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys. It's a crazy situation. But you know what? At least she got her name back out in the news. I can't wait to watch this Snow White movie.
When is this supposed to even come out?
I believe March.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard.
It's Q1. I believe it is Q1 of 2025, if I'm not mistaken. Right, Lauren?
Did you just say you can't wait to watch the Snow White movie?
I can't wait to watch it.
Can't wait?
I said I can't wait to watch this movie bomb.
Oh, well, okay. All right. That's fine.
I'm going to have to see it for the channel.
Are you a glutton for punishment? What in the world, man? We just got past Agatha.
I know, but you know what? We've got Ironheart coming down the chamber here, Lauren. So we have to get ready for that.
No, we don't. No, we don't. I am getting much more enthusiastic about putting my foot down with Pro and saying, no, I'm not going to watch this. I've done my
You were literally on the thumbnail last night for the Agatha after party. When I saw that, I laughed so hard.
We're going to wake up one day and find out that Pro has kidnapped Lauren and sent him to an actual satellite in space.
Yeah, next Sunday, AD.
He takes a great deal of glee in it.
It's going to be the opening theme of Robot Chicken. It's going to be just this robot Lauren being strapped to this chair, being forced to watch all these screens.
You know, the funny thing is that I've kind of kept it on the down low that I do this stuff, commenting on various YouTube videos and stuff. And my parents know, obviously. They love seeing me show up on these things. My mom sent me that thumbnail last night, right before I was going to bed, and saying, love you, enjoyed the show. And then
you're like, I love you too, Mom. I won't.
Yeah. And then earlier this week, one of my coworkers slipped into my cubicle and he says, you know, the other day I was watching YouTube and this thing popped up on my screen and the thumbnail, and it said, it looked like Lauren, and I thought, well, that's weird. And it says the name is Lauren, and it ended up being the video I did with Pro on the Joe Rogan podcast with Trump. And he said he queued it up. He says, That is Lord. So so it's starting to get out there a little bit. So
Oh, that's so
apparently
funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Lauren, are you going to be like Rachel Zegler now? Are you going to?
Yeah, right.
You know,
As soon as people start showing up outside my house and yelling at me and making my cat afraid, sure, I'll have my little rant and talk about how oppressed I am and how this isn't part of my job.
You're always going to be an ingenue to me, Lauren.
Well, thank you.
Oh, I love that was perfectly placed there, Trish. Well done.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys, a couple more super chats. We are going to end a little bit early tonight. As I said, probably going to end right around the top of the hour. I know that's when a lot of us have to go anyway. So, there's been a crazy night already. Let's see. I gifted 5 Toontown TV memberships. So welcome to all of our new members. Liquid Fox for $5 Canadian says, my reaction when Rachel Z is on my screen. Oh dear. It seems I've spotted a word that we're not allowed to say for YouTube. But I said it in a pseudo British accent because when you say that word in a British accent, it doesn't sound as harsh. It sounds harsh, but also more acceptable also when you say it in an Australian or Scottish accent because it's the best.
They say that word.
It flies, man.
It flows like wine.
I know.
It flows like a Massachusetts masshole saying wicked.
I'm so American about it too. Every time I'm like, sorry.
I remember when I played rugby, this is with the school I went to. They get to the field, you had to cut through the international dorm, and when I decided I was not going to play football anymore, and all those South Africans and Scottish guys were like, "I would do this sport." I'm like, I don't know what that is, and 2 minutes, I'm like, I have never heard this word more.
Is that just like the only thing
used so warmly?
Is that the only thing that you hear when like you're in like that like huddle when like everyone's all locked up? Is it just like see? That's just always how I've pictured it.
I have a quick story too. So my daughter, my oldest daughter, her and her friends went as Alvin and the Chipmunks. So I kept trying to figure out which chipmunk she was. She was Simon.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was Simon. Her friend was Alvin. So like she's freaking out about the costume, and as teen girls can be, she's a bit of a nightmare. So my mother-in-law, not thinking, goes, "Does she need me to put a big C on her shirt?" And I started laughing hysterically. Oh. And then she said, "What? I'm for chipmunk." And then my wife started laughing hysterically. And then she realized what she said. She's like, "Oh no, not like that, not like that."
Wait, so you're telling me Alvin and the Chipmunks got rebooted as diverse females? This is an outrage. I need to do a video on this stat.
One very tall Irish girl, a very short Puerto Rican Theodore, and then an African Simon.
Walk into a bar, you got to finish it.
Yeah.
Somewhere Hollywood's like, write it down.
Oh my goodness. Victoria Alonso is like, what? But he also said, sorry for the language, but the truth is the truth. What was Duke for Halloween?
A dinosaur.
Oh, that's what it was. I said it was something blue and kind of furry, but very, very cute.
Is he in the dinosaur phase? Because we all go through the dinosaur phase. Every boy.
He loves dinosaurs and dogs and Battle Cat.
And Battle Cat. Fantastic.
One of the things that's fun about being a dad with sons is getting to go through the dinosaurs phase yourself again.
That is, yeah. When I was a kid, I could tell you everything about certain dinosaurs. Like I knew all these like crazy, like facts that like I was Sam Neill in Jurassic Park.
All right. So what's everybody's favorite dinosaur?
Pterodactyl. Not even close.
Really interesting. Okay. I mean, I don't want to be boring. I really always loved the Triceratops.
My man. We're Triceratops bros.
Triceratops bros. What about you, Kev? You've got to have a good.
Yes, the Allosaurus, but because of dinosaurs.
Very good, Martin.
Ankylosaur.
Deep cuts. Trish, do you have a favorite dinosaur?
I don't have a favorite. This is definitely a guy thing.
Yeah.
Because my thought was you were all talking about geeking out about. Oh, I always liked a Stegosaurus as a kid, by the way, but. I remember eons ago, Slash was on Chris Jericho's podcast, and there was a 10-minute long segment of them just talking about dinosaurs, and they were using like the full scientific names of them, and I was so completely lost. I'm sitting there going, it's a pro wrestler and a rock star, and I'm sitting here listening to the most scientific discussion, but like little children talking about dinosaurs. I just sat there like, this is not what I was anticipating from this at all.
It's something ingrained into every male when we're born.
Has to be.
There's always the dinosaur.
I was just like, all right, you guys do you.
The weird thing is, I somehow, when I was young, missed the dinosaur phase. And then when I was 14, I started learning about radioactive dinosaurs and monsters and Godzilla. And then it never went away. So it catches up to you eventually.
I mean, that's the thing, though, is that kids love monsters. We love monsters. They love going around and growling and going, rawr, you know? And these were real. They were real monsters. It's the closest thing to an actual dragon that ever existed on the earth. That's why kids just love the idea of a monster that's wreaking havoc everywhere.
Yeah. It's, I mean, what would you say? Do you think every boy also goes through the Cars phase where they like cars?
A lot do, but I wouldn't say it's as universal as dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs seems to be like every boy ever.
I had so many dinosaur toys when I was a kid, like so many.
I didn't really care about cars. I had Kit and the A-Team van and Optimus Prime. That was the extent of my car love.
But fire trucks and big machinery, that's different.
My grandma still had all my dad's Hot Wheels when he was a kid. So when I would go to my grandma's house, there was just a big box of Hot Wheels. I
didn't choose the train life. The train life chose me.
I mean, look, once I discovered, I was done with dinosaurs once I discovered that there were 6-foot turtles in Manhattan that did karate and ate pizza. Then that became my obsession for a very, very long time, and I still have not let go of it, despite the fact that Seth Rogen has taken it from me and turned it into something very terrible. Like he tried to do with Christmas when him and Sarah Silverman did that really terrible Christmas special. But speaking of which, guys, we are almost at midnight on Halloween, which means to some of us the Christmas season starts tomorrow. Mariah Carey is thawing out as we speak.
Yes,
And we have
diva.
I
love
listen,
her.
when I drive over to meet up with my family, I'll probably be listening to Christmas music.
I just love her.
And before you say it, Kevin Apollo, I appreciate Thanksgiving too. Don't worry.
Put some respect on its name.
Us Christmas elves do love Thanksgiving as well. It's just there's so much Christmas glee that comes out. It's got to come out in December.
Here's the thing. By the time Halloween hits, I'm so tired. I've said this before, but by the time Halloween hits, I'm so tired of Halloween that I just want I just want to make a Christmas fruitcake and just start throwing it at most of my friends once November 1st comes around. Because not anymore. Not anymore. It's my turn now.
I don't have that problem. I just like this time of year. All the holidays, I'll take them.
I gotta love when adults are just like, I'm gonna make my entire personality Halloween.
Yes.
As I sit here with horns and black lipstick and ghost face set up, you're like, oh, there's people in the love of Halloween.
No, but you don't make your entire personality Halloween.
I feel seen. Okay.
This is important.
Jamie Earhart for $2 Canadian says Keanu rides the subway and he doesn't complain.
Keanu is like his own little shining beacon of amazingness. It's like Hollywood and then Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It's almost not fair to compare other celebrities to him.
You know, they said that because he turned down Star Wars, he turned down Marvel, but he took Shadow the Hedgehog.
I was gonna say he took Sonic.
he took Shadow, and apparently did so much research on Shadow as a character before coming in for the first day. Like the directors were shocked when he came in and he had all these ideas about different ways to take the character. Like they were like, man, he did his research on this. By the way, I just finished Sonic X Shadows Generations. Fantastic. The Shadow stuff is some of the most fun, best Sonic stuff I've ever played in my life.
Can I ask a question about that?
Keanu rides the subway and doesn't complain is a Dylan lyric in search of a song.
Andre Adams for $1.99 says Rachel Zegler's reflection calls out sick. Love you, man.
Andre was carrying your weight while you were gone, Apollo.
Yeah, no, he was. Oh man, Alejandro Melendez, member for 1 month, says I need Death Battle to do Temu Elphaba versus Temu Snow White, aka Rachel Zegler. Yeah, Cynthia Erivo and Rachel Zegler are both just pretty much the worst people in Hollywood right now. But the difference is that Rachel Zegler is 23 and Cynthia Erivo is 37.
You couldn't hear Sarah very passionately discussing this. What is, how do you say her name?
Cynthia Erivo.
Yes, Cynthia Erivo. Very passionately. It's very clear how she feels about her.
Is she on my side?
Oh yes.
Has she watched my Cynthia Erivo videos, because they are like my biggest videos right now?
No, she hasn't seen them, but she was sitting next to me last week when we discussed it.
Oh,
it's a good thing Spencer wasn't here to hear you say that one of those two is the worst celebrity.
I'll say the worst female celebrity, because Simu Liu, we all know he's the worst celebrity. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I think he's a gift. He's so ridiculous.
You're just saying that because Spencer's not here. Liquid Fox for
Spencer's face.
Liquid Fox for $2 Canadian says Allosaurus. Thumbs up, Apollo. When it comes to dinosaurs, I really like the plant eaters that have a defense mechanism, like a Stegosaurus or a Triceratops, who they're herbivores, but like they will mess you up if you come for them. The Stegosaurus, especially with that tail with the spikes on it, like, man,
Same.
like anything that ends up eating a Stegosaurus has earned its meal for the day. I remember seeing something about like, and one of the most, I'll end on this dinosaur question that I asked a college professor one time. I took a zoology course in college just because it sounded neat and I knew we get to go to the zoo. But I said, yes, because I'm 12. We were talking about dinosaurs, and I said, hey, how do we know what color they were? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, how do we know what color they were? Like, we see in the books, like the green, the gray, like what? How do we know? He goes, oh, we don't know. He's like, they could have been pink with polka dots. We have no idea. But now they believe that dinosaurs had feathers.
Okay.
It is believed that
we're getting crazy.
No, it's believed. No, they are. Birds are descended from dinosaurs. So
dinosaurs running around looking like Elton John.
Kind of ruins the image, doesn't it?
It really does.
They go from being badass to like a bird of paradise. You
It's like when
sitting around and just shaking their tail feathers. It's like, knock it off.
It's like when Hulk Hogan started coming out in the feather boas, and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're a dinosaur. You're not a diva. Stop.
I wouldn't mess around with a
air
cat.
guitar.
T-Rex played air guitar.
That would have been
Reach
impressive.
the strings.
I wouldn't mess around with a cassowary. Some of those birds could be nasty.
Actually, birds kind of are scary. There's a reason why Hitchcock made a whole movie.
Yeah, no,
surrounding them.
Do you guys remember the He-Man toy Bashosaurus?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was where my love of Triceratops came from. Was that toy?
Oh, what were the name of the Kevin? You'll know this. The dinosaur enemies in Ninja Turtles.
Oh, the
I had all the toys
or something.
Yes, the Triceratons. I had all the toys for them, and they pop up in Shredder's Revenge, and I was very excited.
Please tell me you had the Mighty Morphin Megazord where you could actually get the Zords with all the dinosaurs and stuff.
Yeah, I never had the Megazord. Like, I never had the Megazord that was all the different Zords. But I had like toys of the Megazord. Kelly Works saying I got to interview one of the Japanese actor who played an honor guard from TMNT 3 Turtles in Time. Definitely highlighted my career. That's awesome. By the way, that movie is underrated, and that is a hill that I will die on. There's nothing wrong with that movie.
There's nothing wrong with it. Bad timing.
The only thing that could have made that movie better, and I still don't understand why they didn't do it, the main villain of that, it should have been some ancient form of the Foot Clan, and they should have fought the original Shredder.
Yeah.
That's what that should have been. That's the only problem with that movie.
Well, that and Vanilla Ice didn't go back in time with them.
Yeah, you should.
Yes!
Vanilla Ice goes back in time and becomes the original Shredder and starts the Foot Clan.
This is why we love you.
It's amazing. That is amazing. But it should have had some connection to the Foot Clan. It should have had some connection to the Shredder. It should have had some connection to Hamato Yoshi. Claywork says, dude, I can talk about that movie for ages. Shockingly, one of the most accurate depictions of medieval Japan in popular culture. And yes, I know how silly that sounds to say out loud. We are going to have that conversation on the air, my friend.
Well, Lord knows it's not that new Assassin's Creed game that's coming out.
Oh, God, no. Don't even get me started, Trish.
If I hear about that dude one more time.
Liquid Fox, I got another $5 out of Liquid Fox. Finally, somebody else liking TMNT 3. I will fight to the death. That
Apparently
is the hill.
He's found his people here. You all sound like you like that movie.
That is the hill
Casey came back.
I will die on. Yeah, get me brought Casey back for God's sake. I didn't need Kino. Though I do, I'm not a Secret of the Ooze hater either. I like Secret of the Ooze. It is kind of a sound of glass breaking moment when you realize that they never use their weapons once during Secret of the Ooze. Like they never even take them out. Cuts. Yeah, they fight with meats and like with toys and stuff.
That just wasn't. I probably saw that ages ago, but I don't remember it. And he was like fought him with meats and cold cuts. I just wasn't expecting that.
It was, yeah. They fought with like toy bats and. Michelangelo literally does combat cold cuts. He takes the sausages and whirls them around like nunchucks.
He screams combat cold cuts and then beats someone up with salted meats.
I was just thinking about Secret of the Ooze last night when I couldn't sleep. For some reason in my head, it was just babies. They're babies. I can clip that. That's got to be a clip that I put in the rotation. They're not stupid. They're infants. Bang. All right, they're stupid infants. That movie's
use that for young celebrities who say stupid things.
Yes.
Yes.
Babies.
Just the title the file Rachel Zegler.
those turtle movies are some of the best films, man. Like the first one with Jose Canseco bat. Tell me you didn't pay money for this.
Well, the first Ninja Turtles movie, as far as I'm concerned, is up there with Superman as one of the greatest comic book movies of all time.
Yes, it went so much harder than it had to go. Like it went so dark and it went so it was just so awesome.
Yeah, everybody was expecting the cartoon, and comic book fans got Ninja freaking Turtles.
Yeah. Well, and then when they did the second one, they started trying to get more toward the comic book, but there was no way to do Krang yet. And there was but the weirdest thing to me was
figured it out.
Toka and Razor instead of Bebop and Rocksteady was a very weird thing to me. So but I'm not complaining. I like Toka and Razor. But and then when we finally ended up getting Bebop and Rocksteady was Seamus.
I don't count the Michael Bay Ninja Mutant Monster movies.
When I went to the theater to see the Michael Bay Ninja Turtles, AMC was like, "Who's your favorite turtle?" Because they would give you the headband on opening night of your favorite turtle to wear in the theater, and I'm like, "You give me that Leonardo headband right now!" And like I'm wearing it, and I'm in the theater, and I'm so excited. Halfway through the movie, I think it was this. You know what? I think it might have even made it up to the point where they're in the elevator and they start singing they start all doing like the hip hop song together. And I just like reached up very slowly and like untied the headband and just kind of like let it fall off my face. It was just like, turtles are dead.
That's awful. I do have to ask a question if we have time.
Yeah, we got time for one question. Nolan, what's up?
I know this one's a bit of a mixed in the turtle community, and I can't say I partake in the turtle community, but what's your stance on TMNT? Because that's a sequel to the first three movies, right?
The movie?
I love that movie with all my heart. I actually just watched
movie's fantastic. That movie is fantastic just for the fact that Leo and Raph finally were down. And I remember sitting there in the theater and I literally like hit my hand out of my armrest and under my breath I just said, "Kick his effing ass, Leo." Like I was so ready. I was so ready to watch Leo finally punch Raph in the mouth. And Uncle Iroh was Splinter, which was brilliant casting.
I love that. With Splinter. Oh,
yes,
great casting.
Just chef's kiss, amazing. And I liked they brought Karai in. We brought there was just so much good stuff in that movie. I really really enjoyed it. And then we just never got any more, which was a shame. But Sarah Michelle Gellar
or something, right? Something
Sarah
weird
Michelle
happened.
Gellar, by the way, is April O'Neil. That could have been fan casting that I did because that was so perfect.
Wasn't Stephen Amell Casey Jones in one of those movies?
No, that doesn't
Yeah,
count.
the
That's
Michael
in
Bay
the,
one.
That's the
Yeah.
Michael Bay
Oh,
one.
okay.
Just
'Cause
like
for some reason that's like
Chris
what
Evans
pops
was
in my head.
Chris Evans was Casey in the TMNT one.
Yeah.
I believe
And
I
people-
didn't even know that.
This is extremely off topic, but here's a little random fun fact of the day. The TMNT crew actually proposed a little like demo movie of what a American-made CGI Legend of Zelda movie could look like, and it actually
that's
didn't
pretty
look
cool.
too bad.
that's
It's kind of a deep cut there, but never happened.
All right, Liquid Fox for $2 Canadian also says Raph whoop his ass. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah, Raph does win that. Raph does win that fight, which I
He
hate.
won the second round.
Yeah, it's true.
Leo
when Leo goes, I'm better than you. I was like, yes, you are. That was the one thing Will Friedle said. The one role that he's always wanted to play, like in voice acting, that he's never gotten to play is Leonardo. And I'm like, you need to play Leonardo. But guys, we have to end. I have to go see my family and get ready for everything. Thank you guys for a wonderful night. Thank you to this wonderful panel. Thank you to these wonderful people in the chat. Everyone that super chatted, everyone who chatted. Thank you guys so much. You guys, I could think of no better way to spend my bachelor party than right here with you guys on Toonie Talk TV. Now, next week, while I'm gone, there will still be Toonie Talk TV. It will just be hosted by Kevin Apollo. So we will see what Kev has in store for you guys. Now, also, just so you know, members, we have an episode of Crime and Punishment recorded. However, I have not had the time to edit it yet. So the week that I come back, you will have 2 episodes of Crime and Punishment that week. So, look forward to that. And yeah, members on the Tooneytown resident level will receive all of our videos for next week, sometime within the next 24 hours as I post them all, because they're all pretty much done. I just have to insert the clips from the show here today. We're doing clips from the show here today because I just didn't have time to, do the solo act on all of them. So, yeah, you guys will have all those videos coming at you probably tomorrow, and then they will release throughout the week as normal. But thank you guys so much. Nolan Thunder, in your awesome Marvin the Thunder costume, tell us where we can find out more about you and everything that you're up to.
Well, if you want to see more of what I'm up to, you can go to youtube.com at Nolan Thunder. I do these documentaries on video game mysteries. And if you're really into the Halloween aesthetic of everything, I got some spooky episodes on some old urban legends. I have a Boo Haunt episode based off a video game based off the Mario enemy called Boos. That was going to be handled by an American studio that Nintendo brought on to actually make more games aimed at older players for mature audiences. It's a really deep cut story, and something in the movie is about I guess I'm grave robbing in it, and I'm being haunted by an evil entity. So if you want to see some of that, I have a video of it on my series Lost the Files on my channel. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun, and if you like Halloween, check that type of stuff out. And you can also see me on That Gameplays with Marvin the Movie Monster.
Thanks very much, Nolan. And Lauren Connor, over on your channel, you're currently going through one of the greatest Star Wars books of all time.
Shadows of the Empire, slowly. Yeah. I've been pretty booked up, and so I have not been putting out the output that I normally like to do. But feedback on it has been good. If you like that kind of stuff, you can find me on Lauren Connor 9030.
Martin Stone, what do you got going on?
I am still with the Lost Guys on That Park Place. It's a member exclusive show. I'll give you fair warning if you tune in. There's going to be an episode where I take the big chair, so we'll see how that works out.
Wow, that's going to be excellent. Oh, I can't wait to see that. And Trish, you want to preview the most recent episode that we just did on Crime and Punishment?
Because I was going to say I didn't choose the next one yet.
That's okay.
Yeah, it was for all you crime fans there. It was Chris Watts. I might have gotten a little teary-eyed at one point.
We both did. We both do toward the end.
Yeah. Because there's just one thing in particular I will never be able to get past. But yeah, if you know the story, you might want to check it out. If you don't, you should definitely check it out. If you're into crime, you just haven't happened to come across it.
If you're into crime.
So frame it, you know what I mean? Like, if you enjoy murder, check out our show.
And who doesn't, really?
Right? Who amongst us? Am I right?
Kevin Apollo, I'm not the only woman having a big day on Saturday. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, I'll be with everybody tomorrow at 2:00. And then Saturday.
Yes, for the members only stream.
Yeah. On Saturdays, our November Rain show for the Haverstraw Community Center. So if you happen to be in the greater Rockland area and you have nothing to do around 2:30, come on down for the free show. But I'm also begging you ready to please donate because they do wonderful work for a lot of people at the Haverstraw Center. And then after that, I'll see you guys. Well, I think we're doing wrestling on Wednesday. Then we'll be here on Thursday. And
I think I went back. I think I went back to Tuesday. I think Dis brought it back to Tuesday. Yeah, Dis is hosting wrestling on Tuesday, and well, he'll say officially what's going on Saturday when they're doing they're doing Crown Jewel on Saturday, Toonie Talk Wrestling on Tuesday, and then you'll be here for Toonie Talk TV on Thursday. So big week coming up. I am just hoping there's still a channel when I get back.
I'll be with Hangry Chair on a Sunday night.
Hangry Table, you mean?
Hangry Table. Sorry. Right.
I call out of stream recently. I called him disgruntled Ottoman. But yeah, he's a great guy. We love Hangry Table. All right, guys.
I'm using that from now on. I like it.
All right, everyone. And also make sure you check out Lorna the Genre Guys. We forgot to plug that one because that show is fantastic. That's also with the disgruntled Ottoman and Lou Wasserman's Ghost. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. From all of us here at the Toonie Town channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here! Now, Betty the Platypus, feel the wrath of my thank you-inator!
Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you! Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. Well, you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing. Thank you!
I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks? For what?
Hi-ho from all of us here at Toonie Town. Thank you!
And viewers like you. Thank you.